Hey, how's it going everybody? My name is Artorigold, and today I want to go over Reaper and show you guys how you can play him in order to gain a bunch of SR. So first off, even though Reaper can be pretty powerful on the front line, I think he's actually better to be played as a flanker. And so I'm going to go over a few strategies and kind of go over a couple of clips in this video and show you and explain to you guys what's so strong about Reaper and how you can do the same thing. So right here, it's the very beginning of the game, and all I'm doing is I'm waiting for the enemy team to move in. Now I know right there from the beginning, I saw that they have a Widow. So I know for a fact that the Widow is going to try to get onto this high ground that I'm positioned at right here. One of the things about Widow is that this high ground is pretty easy, very good for her to get a couple of angles on, and so I can see that I'm away from all of my teammates. So if anything ever goes wrong with Reaper, you always want to make sure that you save your Wraith form for your escape. That's very important, but we'll get a little bit more into that later. First off, you want to make sure that whenever you're flanking as Reaper, you want to make sure nobody sees you. A good way to do this is of course standing behind corners. Another good thing that you want to do is make sure nobody hears you. And the best way of doing that is by crouching. Crouching reduces all the volume from your footsteps so people can't hear you, and also it just makes you harder to see in general. So make sure you always crouch a ton whenever you're playing Reaper and you're hiding. Or I guess that advice can also work for a lot of other heroes. So anyways, I am going to do nothing. I know it's kind of hard to try and do nothing. It's pretty tempting to maybe just go down here and start shooting at the enemy supports. But the big thing here is that my team is all right here, and I know for a fact that the enemy team hasn't even touched this point here, which is basically this point right here is the choke point that a lot of enemies will start to kind of set up. Basically when they're going to try and fight your team, and that hasn't happened yet. One of the biggest things about Reaper is waiting for the right moment to strike, and you have to wait for the enemy to kind of be distracted by your own teammates, so the rest of your team. And once that kind of happens and you see that the enemy is engaged with other things, and that's when you should go in and start shooting, and you kind of have to wait for that right moment. So here I see the Genji is up here. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to kill the Genji. I'm going to make him use all of his cooldowns and back off. And at this point we see that the Genji didn't communicate that to his team that I was here. So this Widowmaker grapples up here, and she is a super easy kill, especially because she just used her only escape, which is her grapple. And because she used it to get up here, I can take her out with no problem. And after that happens, you want to try and focus on other targets. Basically with Reaper, your job is to get one pick by being very sneaky. What a coincidence, his name is Sneaky. And then after that, you go in on the rest of the enemies. So it's basically a 5v6 team fight where everybody is kind of split up, their manpower is down a little bit. And then from there, it's basically a one team fight as long as you don't die. And because I still have my Wraith form, which you should always save it, you never want to waste this ability for that extra movement speed unless you're trying to come out of spawn. That's probably the only time when the extra movement speed is actually really good. For the most part, you just want to save that ability. So at this point, you just drop down. You have them use their cooldowns. As you can see, the Ana just used the sleep dart on me. You kind of just make sure you stay alive, and as the enemy team knows I'm here, they are distracted. They are using sleep on me. The Genji uses dash and deflect on me. And from there, the rest of my team is actually going to push forward. The enemy team is going to move backwards, and as that happens, I'm going to go in, and that's going to be the best opportunity to kind of get in there and do some damage. And from there, you just have a one team fight already at the beginning of the game, giving your team a huge ult economy advantage. And from there, you can move on to your next flank. So here's another thing that I want to go over with Reaper, and I will show you in this next clip. So here is something I want to go over in this clip. You never want to use the same spot twice in a row. You always want to keep the enemy guessing where you're going to come from. Simply wait for the enemy team to kind of engage with my team. As you can see, I have my shield and the enemy shield, and they're both kind of set up here, and there's basically everybody is looking this way. The Ana's looking this way, Genji and Orisa looking this way, and they're kind of distracted with my team that are using abilities and kind of going in. We actually even start the fight by getting, probably I assume, an Orisa suck hook kind of combo there. So from here, I notice I'm gonna just be able to walk in and do damage because they aren't even looking at me. They probably can't even hear me because there's a lot of Orisa gunfire happening, and they probably won't hear my footsteps. So at this point, you go in and flank from a different angle, and you just wait for the enemy team to be distracted by your team, and that's gonna be a great opportunity for you to just walk forward and then just completely melt the tanks. I mean, it goes without saying, right? But Reaper does a ton of damage to the tanks, so it's very easy to take notice of enemy teams' distractions, and once they're fully engaged on somebody else, namely someone on your team, then it's very easy as Reaper to go in behind them and start firing. You want to wait for moments when the enemy team is distracted, and that's going to give you your best chances at successful flanking. So in this clip, I want to go over the Wraith form and just how important it is. So here the enemy team just got the point, and I can see that they're trying to maybe push it a little bit. They just captured the point, and they're both looking this way. So I'm looking to kind of sneak up on the enemy, but this is going to be a fail. I'm not going to be able to get the kill, but this is what's nice about Reaper, is that you have your Wraith form, and you can just simply get away for free almost every single time as long as your enemy is nearby or you have some sort of natural cover that you can use. All around, I just wanted to show off that you shouldn't be afraid of running away, because right here, even though the Roadhog just used his hook ability and I was able to dodge it with my Wraith form, I could cancel it early and I could just, maybe go in and just do a bunch of damage and maybe keep myself alive or use my ultimate, because they don't have a CC ability now that the hook is not there, right? But it's really not worth the risk. I mean, we just got 2 kills. If anything, I should just use my Wraith form to run away and fight another day once my cooldowns are back up and ready and the enemy team is no longer aware of my presence. And that's what you should do. That's one thing that I want you to take away from this clip. Don't be afraid to run away with Wraith form and just use it as an escape. So as you can see in this clip, this Hanzo has no idea he didn't hear me. I safely teleported away. And one of the big things I want to talk about with this clip is waiting to shoot them. So as you can see, I get really close to him, but I don't shoot right away. So as you can see, there is a lot of distance between us. Now, I could start shooting at him at almost any one of these ranges, right? I could start shooting right here at point 1, 2, or 3. At point 1, it's probably going to take me about like 6 to 8 shots to kill him, and if I do that, the first shot is going to give away my location, and then I'm coming at him, and he's going to use his escape ability to get away, and maybe he has a chance at one-shotting me with a headshot. So you never want to do that. That's not good. Or you can wait to shoot when you're at a medium range, step number 2, which is probably going to be about 3 to 4 shots in order to kill him. This is okay, but it depends on who you're trying to go for. It's a little bit of a risk simply because it's a Hanzo, and Hanzo has the ability to one-shot you, so you don't quite want to do that actually. So instead, you want to wait to get as close as possible that you can on Hanzo, go to point number 3. At this point, it'll take only 1 to 2 shots, and you'll be able to get a clean kill on him before he's even able to react. And in this instance, you can tell the Hanzo just shot a Dragon Strike, right? So he's really focused on the point and what's happening right there. And so you want to make sure to get as close as possible to this guy before you shoot at him. And in this instance, he even uses his mobility move. So he no longer has a chance at escaping. He's right up close on me, and I'm able to get a very easy kill on him. And that's what you should do. You want to make sure that you can get up close to an enemy. This is the same instance with this Orisa. I dropped right below here, and I had this Orisa. Now, same thing with the distance. I could try and shoot at him right here, but it's not going to do as much damage, and he's going to be turning around and try to deal with me as soon as I do that. So you want to make sure that you can get really close to an enemy in order to get more damage off on them so they go down quicker. That's a very big thing with Reaper. If they don't see you, they don't notice you, they don't hear you, you can make sure to take a little bit of extra time to get right up close to that enemy in order to secure that kill a lot quicker than you would if you were to do it back here. So this is going to be a successful flank from Reaper. Nobody hears me, nobody sees me, and from here I want to kind of focus on who I want to attack first. So as you can see in this instance, you can see a Harmony orb right here, and because of that, I know that the Zenyatta is on the high ground, and he's most likely alone because I see his team right here. Now I could try to walk up behind and do a lot of damage to the Orisa, but that would be pretty bad because there's an Ana who could sleep dart me, a McCree who could flashbang me, and if any of those hit me, I'm dead, and I would would have to use my Wraith form to basically dodge both abilities, which is kind of hard. So obviously I want to go more for the Zenyatta because one, he doesn't have CC, he's very easy to kill, and because he's isolated and probably alone on this high ground. And since nobody saw me do this teleport, I'm probably going to be able to take this flank pretty safely. So I'm going to go ahead and get behind the Zenyatta, and then I have that second part again that I've talked about many times before, and that's when I'm going to start shooting him. Of course, I could start shooting right now, but if I do that, then of course he's probably going to drop down and go to his team, regroup, get healed by Ana, and then he's going to be protected. So that's not what you want to do. So of course, the best option right here is to make sure that you go up slowly behind him and then get your shots off before he can even turn around. As you can see, I get nice and close to him and I get a kill on him before he's even able to turn around or do anything to me. And from there, we're basically winning the team fight because I got a free easy pick and it's 5v6 on the enemy team. I drop down with my team. I make sure that I can kind of secure the point with him. One thing about Reaper is that he's very strong when contesting a payload or an objective because he can keep himself alive very easily with his Wraith form and his lifesteal. And he also has, 250 health as opposed to 200 health. So Reaper is very independent and he can keep himself alive for a very long time. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.